All right, brand new episode of the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is coming up. Sam Ponders and her bum-ass quarterback husband, Christian Ponders, get the Willie Hutch treatment. Unofficial, official political correspondent Eli Lake breaks down everything that's going down in politics. Is Marshawn Lynch a head case? And NBA action is back, and it is fantastic. All on a brand new I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming up. October 24th, the time has come. My book finally has arrived. This book has balls, is out. You can get it at your local bookstore, Barnes & Noble, wherever you need to get it. Don't get the bootleg copy. It's available on hardcover, on audiobook. I can't wait to get the feedback from the fans. You know where to find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Email me your thoughts, responses, reviews, things you like, things that sucked. You can hit us up at IamRapaportPodcast@gmail.com. We're doing a live show October 30th, New York City at the Gramercy Theater. Tickets are still available at IamRapaportTour.com. Meet and greet, taking selfies afterwards. Hope to see the entire tri-state area Rap-A-Pack there October 30th. Check out the book. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about the book. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. Email us up, IamRapaportPodcast@gmail.com. All right, it's week 8, and the fantasy football season is in full swing, which begs the question, how is your fantasy football team doing? Maybe you drafted a dud in the 4th round, or your first-round pick got injured and is on the shelf with a bum wrist. Who knows? The good news is that it's not too late to forget those injuries and get back in the winning spirit at DraftKings. With DraftKings 1 Week Fantasy Football, with DraftKings, there are so many ways to play. Choose between public contests with big cash prizes or private contests where you can compete against a group of your friends. DraftKings also has beginner and casual contests where you'll play against people of similar skill level. The best part is you get to draft an entirely new team each week without any commitment. There's no better way to turn your love of football into cash this Sunday, week 8, at DraftKings.com. Go to DraftKings.com now. Use the promo code Rapaport, RAPAPORT. Play for free with your first deposit for your share of over $1 million in prizes. This Sunday, the promo code is Rapaport. Play for free. They're giving away $1 million in prizes. DraftKings is the game inside the game. Minimum deposit of $5 is required. Eligibility and restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. All right. This is the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. We are back. We are moving. We are grooving. They call us the Disco 2, the Malachi Brothers. My name is Michael Rapaport, a.k.a. the Gringo Mandingo. Here with G Moody. Last name rhymes with duty. And this is another award-winning, hard-body karate, raw dog without a bag episode of the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Needless to say, it is October 24th. The day has arrived. My book, The Shit Talking Extravaganza, is now available in bookstores, online at thisbookhasballs.com, hardcover, audiobook. If you don't read, have your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your cousin, your son read it for you, read it to you. If you want to listen to the audiobook, it's well worth the money. I could talk shit right in your ear, just like this, about everything and anything, from Floyd Mayweather to the great white hype of Ronda Rousey, to why LeBron James will never be like Mike, to the all-time greatest stickman list, to the audacity of Muggsy Bogues, and so on and so on. Nobody is untouched in This Book Has Balls. I'm so fucking proud of it. Listen, I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast listeners. Make me fucking look good. Make me fucking look good. Don't have me out here looking like a fucking asshole. New York Times best-selling author Michael Rapaport. I fucking want it. The public school system of New York City has failed me. Through hell and high water, we wrote this book. Me and my man Mike Young, he was with me beat for beat. Audio book, hardcover book. It's a shit talking extravaganza. It is finally here. The day is here. I feel good. I'm excited. I'm proud of it. Obviously, doing the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast spawned the idea. When I think back to like the inception of this podcast, it opened up so much of me because anybody who knows me knows I've always talked shit, but I've never had the proper forum. This here, I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast is the proper forum. It is the best forum. Samantha Ponder, ESPN, you're not shutting us down, you fuck. No, you're not shutting us down. You're not shutting down This Book Has Balls. You're fucking lucky, Samantha Ponder, that the book was already out, because I would have dragged you and dragged your bum-ass quarterback, Christian. Christian Ponder ain't shit. Samantha Ponder, you're a chicken head, snitch, rat fuck. We're going to get to them later and what they did to my people, our people. Barstool Van Talk got canceled in very dramatic, very, very dirty
Sucker
hands.
Shit fashion.
Real greasy. We're going to get to them in a minute. We're going to get to that whole situation. But the book has arrived. Yo, check it out. As I said, it's in bookstores, your local books, everywhere. This ain't no niche thing. It's a goddamn worldwide phenomenon book. This book has balls, sports rants from the MVP of talking trash. Obviously, I wanted to call it the MVP of talking shit. But we're trying to go New York Times bestseller on that ass.
That's right.
Shit. I mean, gee, you were with me in school. If some of these teachers at Erasmus Hall found out I had a book, I mean, they'd be shocked, correct?
Oh, yeah, hell yeah, man. They'll be like, damn, this motherfucker got a book?
All they knew was that I was a disruptive, harassing student. They didn't want anything to do with me. We were in there with goddamn criminals at Erasmus Hall. Martin Luther King, full of lunatics, crazy people. But all they did was focus on me because the disruption was so beautiful, so lovely. They couldn't teach their fucking class. Kids were in there with bundles of drugs, switchblades and guns, but you want to focus on me, the gringo mandingo. I'm just 15, I'm just 16, I'm minding my fucking business. So what? I had a little talk problem. I had a little ADHD. Something was the matter. Okay? I break it down from the inception all the way to the end, and This Book Has balls, sports rant from the MVP of Talking Trash. This is going to be another fucking barn burner episode. Okay?
Yeah.
Later on in the show, we have the unofficial, official political correspondent Eli Lake. He's going to give us some insight to all things international and local politics with our favorite disgruntled, disruptive president, deviant, dumpy Donald Trump. So we haven't had Eli in a while. He's always very informative, so we're going to get him on the phone. And what can I say, man? It's the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast. You know what we do.
Yes.
I'm going to get right to this. So last week we talked about what I thought was a real sort of game-changing thing, and ESPN was on the right track. They hired the guys from the Part of My Take podcast who are good dudes. Good fucking dudes. Their podcast is funny. They're good dudes. Always been supportive of me. Always been, I fuck with them. They fuck with me. They got a show 1 a.m. on ESPN, sort of like a Wayne's World of sports. We said it on this here podcast. I said it was the best thing on ESPN because ESPN is a cemetery. It's a snore fest.
Yeah.
And this has nothing to do with the talented people on there. The Jamel Hill, welcome back. She's off for suspension. The Michelle Beatles, the Jalen Rose, our guy, Steven Jackson. Okay, but in general, these guys haven't revamped their shit. It's sports, motherfuckers. Every time we got people on ESPN talking about sports, they're suited and booted. I'm in the bed. I got my finger up my nose. I might be smoking a little something. I might be eating pizza and ice cream. I'm not suited and booted. Why are you suited and booted talking about sports every single time you're up there? I'm not saying you have to have boxer shorts and a thong on. But it's fucking sports, man. It's fucking sports. When you're in the park growing up with your friends playing sports, it's all fun. When we're watching a football game, whether you're winning, you're losing. When you're watching a basketball team, whether you're winning or losing, Lonzo Ball, LeVar Ball, whoever the fuck you're into, it's fun. These guys uptight, rules and regulations. This podcasting thing is the front runner for the new media, and ESPN is stuck in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
So while the guys, these are innocent guys, they're young dudes, man. They just came out of nowhere. They had a lot of success. They tapped into something. While the guys from PMT were filming their brand new show, which did well the first episode, did very well. While they were filming and getting ready to air their second episode, they got word that ESPN dropped the hammer and canceled them immediately.
Right.
That John Skipper. What do you call him?
John the Ripper Skipper.
John the Ripper Skipper.
He don't fuck around.
Stripped away the hopes and dreams and canceled the show effective immediately. And the whole thing happened because of this. There's a quote-unquote sports reporter. I bet she thinks she's a real hard-nosed freedom fighter, feminist, standing up. So when it got announced that Barstool Van Talk was going, she put out a tweet showing, finger pointing that Big Cat from Barstool Sports. She said he called her this, he called her that. She put a tweet out saying I guess somebody had called her a slut from over there, Barstool.
Right.
First of all, she got it wrong. It wasn't Big Cat. She didn't apologize for accusing the wrong person for that. She kept going. Sam Ponder, I never even heard of this little chicken head. But I guess she's on ESPN. What does she do? Do you know what she does?
I don't know. I don't know what she does. A rabble-rouser. And it turned out to be El Presidente Dave Portnoy, who's the president, who's the founder of Barstool Sports. Anyway, they did the first show, but apparently all the little rabble-rousers and they're so highfalutin and they're so untouchable and they're so perfect. They're just so self-righteous. Remember that Sarah Spain, when I got into it with Dan Le Batard and those fuckboy producers, she was on there, oh, you're this, you're racist, you're that, because I had put that picture that my man put up of the producer with his grill all fucked up in Photoshop. I didn't do it. Somehow or another, I was racist because of that. Right.
Yo, your grill's fucked up, I'm not racist when I distort Donald Trump's grill. His grill just looks fucked up. But when it's a black dude and his shit looked all scrunched up and fucked up, then it's racist. Regardless of thing, Sarah Spain jumped in there, fucking Bomani Jones, they're all so self-righteous. You're racist. Get the fuck out of here. And Sarah Spain apparently, she allegedly, she had a problem with Barstool Sports. You know why? Because Sarah Spain wants her own show.
Okay.
That's what it all comes from. Listen, all these on-air personalities, everybody wants to win, G. They all want to be on the air. They all want to have their show. They all want to be the host of this show, the host of that show. Sarah Spain, you ain't ready for primetime. You're not that good. All that self-righteousness, nobody wants to hear all that shit. Maybe someday you'll get a softball show. You could talk about women's softball. Because you're not the leading lady. You're not Jamel. You're not Michelle Beto. You're not Carrie Champion. You're not number one on the call sheet. You ain't never going to be number one on the call sheet, Sarah Spain, with all your self-righteous bullshit. How do we know you don't have skeletons in your little closet?
She knows that. That's why she's a cutthroat.
So this little Samantha Ponder, who's married to Christian Ponder, former Minnesota Vikings quarterback. Remember this motherfucking bum?
Yeah. Interceptions was his specialty.
Interceptions were his specialty. He used to get dragged by Jimmy Johnson, Terry Bradshaw. He's not even as popular as Aaron Rodgers in Minnesota. Come on.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is public enemy number one. And Christian Ponder isn't even as popular as him. Christian Ponder I'll bet in the back of his bum-ass head thinks somehow, some way he's going to get into the NFL. He's not even that old.
He's out of the league?
He's out of the fucking league. He's a stay-at-home dad.
Oh.
And what I think it comes down to, Gerald, is this. The reason why this Samantha Ponder, Christian Ponder's record as an NFL quarterback is 14-21-1. You trash, Duke.
Yeah. We're not going to kick him when he's down. He's out of the league.
Now we're going to kick you when you're down. Matter of fact, let me get that motherfucking Willie Hutch. Christian Ponder.
Oh, shit.
You bum-ass motherfucker, you. You're a career quarterback, 14-21-1. I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. Make the kids a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and get them ready for school so they're not late, Duke. You ain't never getting back in the league, homeboy. All the quarterbacks that go down, and we know week after week, quarterbacks go down. Your name is never brought up.
Your name is never pondered.
No one is ever pondering bringing you back into the league. You trash. And your wife thought, maybe one day, I'm gonna wind up marrying an NFL quarterback. And she wound up with your bum ass.
Damn.
Go run the errands, because now your wife is the breadwinner, you bum-ass motherfucker, you.
Oh, man.
Cut that, Willie.
He said something greasy. Why you going at him like this?
No, because she talking out of pocket.
Oh,
Why is Samantha Ponder so infatuated, spending so much time worrying about the young men over at Barstool Sports?
Yeah.
Is Christian Ponder not skeeting, real proper? Is Christian Ponder, we knew he couldn't get the ball up.
Yeah, I hear you. I see where you're coming from. So you got to come at money because she talking out of pocket.
She talking out of pocket.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, Christian Ponder, you need to ask yourself, maybe it's something you're doing at home. Maybe your fuck game is not insane. Maybe your fuck style was never buck wild. Your wife is out there working. And Samantha Ponder, I know you think you're some hard-hitting sideline reporter and sports reporter. Let me tell you something, chickenhead. Without the big golf ball white bleached teeth and the overdone bleach blonde hair and the 5 inches of caked-on makeup, you're just a soccer mom at the supermarket with bad breath.
Yeah, Ralph's.
But in my opinion, this is a tipping point because it's new media, G. And, ESPN, they wanted these sort of, rogue, young, rebellious sports dudes to get on there because that's what Barstool is. It's young, it's rebellious, it's different, it's irreverent. ESPN, we know, aside from the sporting events, is a sinking ship. One show after another show fails. They can't keep themselves out of controversy. They got the Cupcake King, Dan Le Batard, and all these other bozos on there. Old regime. They got these young stallions, young studs.
And I like the press conference where they were like, yo, this guy hired us and he wanted to try to distance himself from Barstool and he hired us? Yo.
You were selling it off Barstool. The reason why people watched the first episode, the one and only episode at 1 a.m., because it was Barstool. Because Barstool has the young audience. Barstool has the demographic that every TV show, every music company, every record label, every brand wants. Young people with money.
Right.
The next regime. Because they're going to wind up being 25, then 30, then 35, 40, and they have grown up on Barstool. And you know what that means? Sooner or later, you guys are irrelevant.
Yeah, and it's sooner. We see it, the writing is on the wall.
So they dissed them. They shitted on them. Dave Portnoy held his little funny press conference. He broke it down word for word. I told him, let me get on my Tupac shit, Duke. Let me get on my Tupac shit. I'm Tupac. Put that hit 'em up beat. Miles, remind people of that hit 'em up beat. Let me get that hit 'em up beat real quick. Don't worry about it. We're good. So anyway, Christian Ponder, my man, you need to work on your stroke game. Get your home in check. Why is she worrying about Big Cat and his mustache?
Right. Why is she worried about these young guys, these young strapping guns that put this shit in play? Why are you worried about them? Let them do their thing.
Let them do their thing.
Exactly.
It's I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Stay with me. MyBookie.ag. If you're watching games, it's time to start making money. MyBookie.ag is the leading website that hooks up all your betting needs. And with their great odds, fast payouts, and decades of expertise, you can bet with confidence. Your team doesn't even have to win. They just need to cover the spread. What are you waiting for? Lay down some cash and win big today. Or if you know that your team sucks, come to terms with it. Do yourself a favor and bet against them. It's a beautiful thing. If they lose, you'll make money. And if they win, you'll still be happy. Where you bet is just as important as who you're betting on. That's why I am urging you to make your way to MyBookie.ag. I trust them, but you don't have to take my word for it. Check them out yourself. You've been sitting on the sidelines all season. You haven't manned up yet. Now is the time to get to action. Because due to popular demand, MyBookie's 100% bonus will be available for only one more week. 100% bonus is available for one more week. Right after this Sunday's game, you could kiss it goodbye. They have in-game, live betting, and a mobile site that makes wagering on the go easier than ever. You can also check out their online casino if you'd rather just play a few hands of blackjack or roll the dice in craps. Join now and MyBookie will match your deposit with up to 100% bonus for the last time this year. Okay, it's not happening again. Use the promo code Rapaport to activate the offer. Visit MyBookie.ag. You play, you win, you get paid. No questions asked. Go to MyBookie.ag today. Yo, I'm also going to be doing a book signing at Bookends in Ridgewood, New Jersey, Wednesday, the 25th, October 25th at 6 p.m. I am giving up courtside tickets to the Brooklyn Nets versus the Cleveland Cavaliers to hang out with the people in Ridgewood, New Jersey at Bookends. You heard what I said. I had courtside tickets to see the Brooklyn Nets versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. You know how much enjoyment I get from heckling fucking LeBron James, but I want to be with the people. We're doing a book signing, 6 p.m. at Bookends, Ridgewood, New Jersey, 6 p.m. the 25th. I hope to see all you Rappapack members there. All right, we're back. I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Anyway, so Jemele Hill is back to work. Good. She's a star. She's respected by women, men, everybody. She's a great reporter. Good person. She's back after a 2-week suspension over that sucker shit. She's back. NFL season is in full swing. Gonna break some of that down. NBA is in, it's here. NBA action is fantastic. Man, have you been watching the games, G?
Oh, man. I got a chance to watch, Lonzo Ball, his first game or whatever against the L.A. Clippers with, man, Patrick Beverley is dedicated to defending like a motherfucker, man.
Patrick Beverley has a basketball camp that only focuses on defense. Matter of fact, the live show that we're doing October 30th in New York City at the Gramercy Theater, the podcast / book signing, I'm coming out in a Patrick Beverley jersey. I fucks with Patrick Beverley. Apparently, we talked about this a little bit on the last podcast, but I found out even more that Patrick Beverley was in the locker room outside the Lakers' locker. Imagine you wait your whole life to play in the NBA, and then you got Patrick Beverley outside the locker, and he was like, yo, get your ass out here. I'm going to bust your ass. You ain't shit. He was talking shit to him in the locker room. And Lonzo Ball was not a crook, son. Nah. Oh, yeah. He was a shook one.
Yeah. Yo, that is crazy. I mean, this dude, Patrick Beverley, was languishing in Russia, playing ball out there. And, he's grateful to be in the league. He don't take this shit for granted at all. And that, you know how much dedication it takes to defend and the amount of energy to keep guys in front of you. And then you got to, bring the ball up. Yo, that dude is on some other shit with the defense. and he's a star to me.
Yeah, he's good. And you know, the LeVar Ball circus, you know, continues night after night, whether he plays good, doesn't play good. Lonzo Ball, we talked about his first game after Patrick Beverley shut him down. The next game, he came out and had 29 points. So proud. But they failed to mention that it was 29 points on 27 shots.
Oh.
They didn't mention that it was 29 points on 27 shots. Listen, I got nothing against Lonzo Ball. No one would know anything about Lonzo Ball if it wasn't for his pops. Look what he's setting the table for. So who's going to be the next young kid? And he's got a cousin, an uncle, a father who likes to talk shit. So then you're going to have him there?
Yeah, yo.
Like, what are we setting ourselves up for? Like, ESPN is so fucking desperate that after every game that they put up with Lonzo Ball, LeVar Ball is on the post game.
Yeah, I know.
And you could say what you want about him. He's way more entertaining because he's talking that shit.
Yeah.
So, but what's going to happen? Because there's some kid in high school now who apparently is really good. He's got a mom and a father. They like to talk shit. They like to heckle people. So when he gets in the league, their parents are going to get in there. Oh, and if LeVar Ball is given the shine, and you're not going to give me the shine, then we go to Twitter. And then you know, the next one's got their brother or their sister.
That's what's going to happen.
That's what's going to happen. And it turned the NBA into a circus, a shit show.
It's not the NBA. It's the networks covering these motherfuckers. LeVar Ball is not demanding to be on television. They're asking him to get on television and say, because he's the draw.
Well, they're not necessarily asking him. I don't agree with that. I don't know how it's happening. They're both happy with it. And Stephen A. Smith, who I fuck with, it's like, yo, get a hold of your shit, man.
Why? What's wrong?
Like, why are you giving this dude a forum to talk after every game? Like, LeVar Ball thinks this is AAU. He's like heckling. This is the dude's You know what's going to happen? Lonzo Ball at some point is going to be like, yo, my man, you ain't coming to the games. Nope. Stay home. You're not in the NBA. I'm in the NBA. This is my life. This is my dream. This is my job. This is my workplace. Stay your ass at home.
Eventually that's going to happen. I'm sure he's going to get tired of his whole shtick. But, yo, one thing he said, I don't care what happens. I'm there whether he lose or win. Like I'm his father's always going to be there. So I commend that dude for standing because, yo, this is a great father. I mean, who wouldn't want their pops doing shit like that?
You're supposed to be
really
at the game.
Behind you.
Plenty of other parents are at the game. They just don't. They're not making it about themselves.
Nah, he's not making it about himself.
Yes, he is making it about himself.
Nah, it's about his love for his kids. Like, he's confident in them. Like, yo, they're gonna do this.
Well, then, if he's so confident in them, let him be. I don't think he is confident in them. I think he's freaked out of his mind. Listen, it doesn't matter what it is. It's like, yo, this is pro sports. Like, what are we setting ourselves up for? Who's the next LeVar Ball? And then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. And this ain't AAU. This ain't about the parents. You did your job to get your sons there, to give them the opportunity to get there. Now let them shine. Sit your ass down and let it be about the player. Let it be about your kid, and just chill the fuck out.
You can't, but no, NBA can't regulate parents.
No, they can't regulate parents, but they can regulate who the fuck they put on their channels, just like they regulated Barstool Van Talk not being on there. They could be like, no more LeVar Ball. My man Steph Curry got ejected. He threw his mouthpiece at a referee the other day. That's what I'm talking about, Steph. I like that shit.
Yeah.
Throw your mouthpiece at him. Let Bizarro Steph Curry come to life on his own. Let my voice rest.
That is just frustration, and you shouldn't be thrown out of the game because you have to take it into context. Like, he wasn't just doing it on purpose. He was you know, it was just like heat of the moment. So I thought he should have got a flagrant one, sit out a little bit, not thrown out of the game.
You know, this whole thing with the LeVar Ball and, you know, this sort of, it goes back into what we were talking about first, like this new media and everybody has a voice. Everybody could voice their opinion, good, bad, or indifferent. Some you like, some you don't like. Me, you might not like. Me, you might like. You know, everybody, you know, there's tons of motherfuckers out there. the thing with the athletes now, you got athletes. Martavis Bryant, who's been a disappointment. Martavis Bryant is a wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers who sat out the entire season last year because of drug suspension. Thus far, he plays on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and if you don't follow football, he plays with two of the best football players in the world. He's not at that level. He's been complaining for the last few weeks that he wants to get traded. He's not, being used properly. He Instagrammed, shitted on his teammates. And it's like, these guys have to be grown-ups. Like, where are we going with this? Like, when you're a professional football player and you're Instagramming, dissing your teammate on Instagram, not in the locker room, not in the huddle, not at practice, on fucking Instagram. They're all treated like debutantes, and they all think they're the man. Martavis Bryant, you ain't that dope. You were out of the league for the entire season because of your dumb shit. And then you're on Instagram dissing not another player, your fucking teammates.
Right. That you go to war with, you dissing them dudes. Them dudes blocking and saving your ass. Yo.
It's subordination, man. The precedent is getting all crazy, man. There was another dude, I can't remember his name, on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after the game complaining and all that. Like, yo, you're not all that. Not everybody is Cam Newton. Not everybody is Odell Beckham. Not everybody is Antonio Brown. Not everybody is Steph Curry.
Right. Yeah.
One thing I respect about the Patriots, you start popping shit,
out.
They shut you down.
You gone. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly my point. You don't play with that type of behavior. Yo, you dissing the team? Yo, all right, man. Cut
his ass. They don't need him. He's not even that good anymore anyway. I mean, he's talented, but he's dropped balls, and maybe he doesn't fit into the system. I have nothing against Martavis Bryant. I met him. He's nice. He's cool. But hold your head, Duke. Another person who needs to hold his head, Vontaze Burfict.
Oh, he's at it again.
Yo, man, I mean, this was nothing, but if it was another player, it wouldn't have made a good thing, but he's like kicking the head of another player after a play. Cincinnati Bengal, he's been suspended numerous times. He's a headhunter, a knee hunter, an ankle hunter. He's trying to knock people out of games, but not in a good way. He's a dirty player. I think they got to kick him out of the whole fucking league. If they're going to kick you out of the league for smoking weed, they need to kick you out of the play for putting other players in jeopardy. This ain't golf. This ain't tennis. When you hit somebody the wrong way, you could end somebody's career, and he's done it over and over and over. And this last incident where he tried to kick money in the head, again, if it had been another player, it probably would have been a non-incident, but it's like, you're like a repeat offender.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate on this and go in a different direction. Some people would say, yo, that man is playing football. Like, my intention is not to hurt you, but to get you out of the game, and that's the game of football.
But this play that I'm talking about, G, was after the play. Like the whistle,
okay.
it's some type of shit that I would do. The whistle had blown. Like it had nothing to do with the player get you out. It was just it'd be like kicking somebody in the dick. Like, come on, man, what the fuck you doing, man?
That's uncalled for. Of course, you should be fined and punished for all that, but. Yo, he has a reputation for physical play, but yo, it's the game of football, and yo, sometime, you're gonna get that work. Because it's all about momentum too. Because when a guy's running, you can't just stop momentum. So it's a flash play. It's very quick. So you have to put that in context as well, man. Shit.
Another situation in the NFL. Marshawn Lynch. I fuck with you, beast mode. I love you. You're not right in the brain. Last week during the game, there was a little football scuffle. It's football. There are never any real fights. They all have equipment on. It was a basic little pushing and shoving, grabbing, each other's jersey. It wasn't even anything. Marshawn Lynch runs onto the field, sprints onto the field, gets himself into the fray, gets tangled up with a referee, gets kicked out of the game, gets another game suspension, and it turns out that the reason why he was doing it, the reason why the motherfucker was doing it, because his cousin who plays on the other team, not his team, the Oakland Raiders, was part of the fray. Marcus Peters is his cousin. And he was out there trying to protect him.
Right. It's that Bay area, the Yay area. They looking out for one another.
No. First of all, there was no action. It was just a little pushing and shoving. It wasn't any big thing. Marshawn Lynch is bugged out because I fuck with Beast Mode. And I know if I met him, I would love him and all that shit. But it's like, yo, are you shy? Do you want attention or do you not want attention? Or do you just want attention on your terms? Because
I think.
What?
Yeah, you're right.
Because he acts like he doesn't want attention. I'm just here so I'm not get fined and all that stuff. But then you do everything on the field to get the attention, but it's only on your terms. This football shit is only, he was retired before he came back. He's playing for the Oakland Raiders now. The Raiders themselves have had trouble. But Marshawn Lynch is not the same player. Like, this football shit ends.
Based on the data, not a lot of motherfuckers do well within 5 years after playing. So, man, I don't know. I hope homeboy got shit together because we've had a lot of prior incidents, so there's no excuse for lousing things up.
All right, stay tuned. We're going to do some sick fucks. We got my man Eli Lake, I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Listen to this funk right here. All right, as promised, we got the official political correspondent, Eli Lake, on the phone. We got brand new listeners every week, so I got to break down. Eli Lake is a Bloomberg reporter, writer. He's our eyes and ears of fact-checking politics in layman's terms for the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast show and the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast listeners. He's been a great asset, a great ally. We've been through the trenches over the last year and some change over everything that has to do with Trump, anti-Trump, Trump getting nominated, this, that, and the other. Eli Lake, what is going on, my friend?
Oh, Mike Rapp. And let me just say, I've been with the worldwide phenomenon since day one.
Yes, sir.
And some recent podcasts will go down. Those are some historic podcasts. When they tell the story of the I Am Rapaport, look at some of those recent ones.
I appreciate that. I feel good about it. I felt like some of the last two were hard-hitting, hard-body karate episodes. I think the invention of people getting Willie Hutched is alongside with getting ILO'd. And we somehow made Willie Hutched into would that be a verb or an adjective?
It's both because it's that Willie Hutch, and it's also to be Willie Hutched.
Oh.
There's a lot of, and it works for that kind of style where you're just really going in. It's the final word. That's it.
Yeah, and because Willie's almost crying, and then when we play the music, Miles, let me get that Willie right here. Let me get Willie. Eli deserves a little Willie. There it is, right there. See, when we got that rocking underneath something, and we're going in on somebody, top to bottom, Willie just accentuates it. It's like the hot sauce on a perfectly fried chicken wing, the maple syrup on perfectly cooked pancakes and or waffles, whatever you're into. It's like the salt and pepper on a perfectly cooked steak, but just to give it a little bit more flavor, a little accent. So, and that's what Willie does. Cut that, Willie, Miles. Enough about Willie. Eli Lake, the political landscape. I have a couple of questions for you, and then I want you to sort of I want you to sort of articulate what is pending, what is nerve-wracking, what's keeping you up, what's keeping you tossing and turning on the pillow. But my first question, the calm before the storm that Donald Trump mentioned, now it's a few weeks ago, so it's a lot of calm, hopefully before no storm. Hopefully it's a whole bunch more rhetoric. Since he said the calm before the storm, aside from the fact that Kim Jong-un sips that Hennessy, what can you tell us about the United States relationship with North Korea?
Well, there's a bigger question in the sense that we're looking at generals around a president who are trying to constrain the president, if you kind of read between the lines. That's the theme of all these sort of things. before we even get to North Korea.
Right.
And usually when you have a fascist takeover, it's the president with the generals who do the take. You know what I'm saying? But this time it's almost like the generals are on the side of everyone else to make sure Trump doesn't do anything too wild.
Right.
Which is, I mean, I'm just saying, like, we have to adjust to that. That it's not the same as we're used to, but at the same time, it's dangerous in a lot of ways, unprecedented. But, you know, the other thing on North Korea to always remember is that everything that everybody else would have done was clearly not working. Because it was like he inherited a problem where he was about to make these intercontinental ballistic missiles, or so the government said. But we know that he's been testing more and more. And the serious people are like, he could test a hydrogen bomb in the middle of the ocean. That would be a huge escalation, and it would be like, you know, you would have to respond to that in some way. But is that going to mean that President Trump's going to do something totally crazy and invade North Korea? No. I mean, I think the one possibility is that you would see South Korea would get nuclear weapons, or maybe Japan, though that's a longer shot, because they're the only country that ever was, you know, we used an atomic bomb on Japan, or two of them. But that's the kind of thing I think is more likely. And then there's always the possibility of a miscalculation, but I don't think that Trump is thinking he's going to invade like the country like it was Iraq. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, it's a scary situation because he's bugged out. And we talked about it before, but like North Korea, they're the worst, and we don't want them to have to put us in sort of nuclear blackmail.
Right.
So it's a really serious situation. And I think, by the way, the irony is I don't think he's going to invade North Korea. He's not going to get us into a war like Iraq. But he is going to prove the threat of America to be hollow because he's already, you know what I'm saying, like Trump's rhetoric has already been like, you know, putting it up to 11. And if he doesn't deliver, then that says something about our credibility. Does that make sense?
No, I got it. I got it. I got it. And I totally understand. All right, there it is with North Korea. What else is going on?
Well, so we got to watch really carefully right now. And I know that a lot of listeners are like, the Middle East, keep getting back into it. But on September, like a month ago, the Kurds voted in a referendum to say they supported being an independent state. And I've liked the Kurds for a long time, so I thought it was cool. But, of course, the Iraqis kind of went nuts. And they just sent the Iraqi army into area that the Kurds had basically, you know, had been, I could say, occupying. You had Kurdish forces around a city called Kirkuk, and now there are Iraqi forces there. And we're sort of seeing this whole scenario, like, play out. If it escalates very quickly, then you would have a war between two sides of the U.S. government in some ways that are, you know, that we've been supporting.
So then what happens? Like, what is
it's like a huge clusterfuck, to be real. It's like we've got like the CIA has supported and the U.S. military has supported plenty of Kurdish militias known as Peshmerga, but they've also been a huge that we've trained and subsidized the Iraqi security forces as well. So if they were to get in a war, it's like it's like America would be fighting itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
So that's like a pretty bad thing too. But so far, that's like on a knife's edge. And so here's the thing: Trump is incapable of making the right strategic call. I mean, I do this for a living. I don't know if I'm capable of making the right call. It's a really hard and complicated problem. And the way that things are working under Trump is that the people who are making the most decisions are not like really Trump. It's in this case Tillerson and a senior diplomat named Brett McGurk, like McGruff the crime dog or something. You know what I'm saying? But those are the people who are like making the day-to-day decisions on like how to try to de-escalate the situation. Not really Trump. And I think that's happening in a lot of things, not just foreign policy. Like a lot of stuff, it's like another person. It's not really Trump who's like focused in on stuff. And he's focused on like the NFL, you know, getting in a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like trolling Democrats, his Twitter feed, you know? Like
in a way, isn't that good though? That sort of the professionals are dealing with it?
Good because it still could be bad.
Right.
Because we want to have, you know, this is how we, in the modern presidency, we have somebody that was elected who is a representative of the people's voice, and this was the majority of Americans who voted for him, to have some sway that the government answers to him. But instead, it's like Trump just doesn't care about a lot of what the government has to do, and so it just goes on its own. I mean, it presents its own problems. Better than the alternative of Trump getting us into wars, right? That would be worse. I agree.
Right.
But but like it's still its own problem. And I don't know. Listen, I think that everybody who thinks that Bob Mueller is going to get him impeached or something like that, maybe not, but it's not something at this point that's worth constantly speculating on. It's going to happen or it's not going to happen.
The idea of getting him impeached is like, what would have to happen? I mean, you explained this once before, but like, is this just like I hate to like have to like bow down to him. Like, is it a witch hunt? What is the whole Russia thing?
No, it's not. Okay, first of all, there's a bunch of stuff you could probably legit try to impeach him on, but it's not like there's like a law that presidents have to follow, and then like if you violate the law, there's some other third party. It's always a political question. It's always Congress. So the focus has been on Russia, and I don't know what happens with Russia. I mean, I don't know if it goes directly to Trump or it just goes to like his former campaign manager, Paul Manafort. Well, it's unclear at this point. And the only people who know are Mueller and the people working for him in the Justice Department. But like, there's a whole lot of stuff. It's not so much something a witch hunt. I mean, there's a lot of like legitimate questions, but it's a political question. So what it really requires is for Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer to agree that they were going to use the most of their party to work together to impeach him. And that's not as crazy as you think. Because, the Republican leadership in Congress hates Trump and vice versa.
Right.
I mean, he's humiliated them. And, like, you think the Democratic leaders, it's like you just have to figure out a way that they can be brought together, and then you could have the political possibility of impeachment. But then there's another question, which is, are the Republican leaders, if they wanted to impeach Trump, strong enough to take on the Republican Party? Because you know what? Most Republicans love Trump. Have you noticed this?
Right.
The people who voted for him think he's doing great. In all the polls, it's like everyone is like gone down on Trump. It started low and it went very low, right? Except for people who voted for him, who supported him, and they're like, yes, he's doing great. So they've only dropped like 5%. So that's another thing.
If you had to say 3 things that Trump has done that we have to give him credit on, do they exist? Are there 3 things that he's done well? Like, or 3 instances of things, circumstances, anything that we could actually say, okay, this is a valid reason to say this was done correctly?
Good question. And yes, you can do 3. The first is, and like for liberals, this would be a bad thing, but he got Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch on the Supreme Court. He did it largely with Mitch McConnell in the Senate, but it doesn't matter. That's an important thing that he did. The second thing is like when he originally created some leverage with China on North Korea, he had the leader of China, Jiang Zemin, over to Mar-a-Lago and over a beautiful piece of chocolate cake in Trump's own words. He said that, we just commenced bombing and Syrian targets who, just committed, an atrocity by using chemical weapons.
Right.
And I think that was a strong move because it was a brushback pitch to the Chinese, and the Chinese have been taking advantage of us. And it's not like everything Trump says is wrong. And he is correct at least when he was on the campaign talking about China. And the third thing, I thought his Vegas speech was pretty good. I know everybody was like, oh, it's obvious and, whatever. But I thought it was a pretty good speech. I thought he had a good moment there. And a lot of else. Let's be honest. Like, they roll off the tip of the tongue, picking a fight with the mayor of San Juan in the middle of like a horrible hurricane where her whole island was wiped out. That was pretty terrible. The Charlottesville response where he's like, let's find people on both sides. Yeah. That was terrible. By the way, he failed on repealing. He tried Obamacare. He's trying taxes. He's trying to build a wall. He hasn't been able to do any of that.
Yeah, the wall ain't happening. There's no wall coming. The wall's not happening.
I mean, there is like parts of the border that there'll be a wall, and he'll be able to pose in front of one and say it was a wall. But he's like the president of bullshit, and like it's never. You're going to have some fence, and some of it's going to be, drones in the air and like things that there's going to be like lots of ways to deal with depending on the terrain for the border, right. And it's not going to be like a physical wall. And by the way, if you wanted to just build a physical wall, you're a freaking moron. Wouldn't you want experts who knew like all about like surveilling borders, you know what I'm saying? Like to come up with their best plan, and maybe it wasn't an entire wall. I never understood that. Did you ever understand that?
No.
Like, why does it have to be a wall, right?
Right. Maybe it's not a wall. Maybe it
could be any number of things. It doesn't have to be a wall. It's like I understand what you're trying to say. You're trying to say like we should do more about people trying to sneak into the country because it's, all right, if that's what you want, let's come up with a lot of other ways to do it. Well, why does it have to be a wall, right?
what other stuff, Eli? What other things in politics, should we be concerned about, optimistic about, focused on, other than the fact that Trump is a deviant, bloated savage?
What else should we be paying attention to? You're in Hollywood, so you know all about this Harvey Weinstein, but that had a huge effect in my world of media. There's a list of these scumbag media guys.
Right.
It had a huge. It's always been an issue in politics. We all know the stories, and by the way, it goes back well before Clinton.
Right.
But I feel like that's something where we see that Me Too hash, a quarter of all the Facebook accounts we're using or some incredible number. And you realize stuff like that's very powerful, even though it's not even tied to a political story. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I guess the other side of that though is I don't know. Do you know who David Cross is?
Who is that?
He's a comedian. He just Mr.
yes,
Show.
yes. Articulate that, and I'm going to follow up on it because I had a lot to say. I know him a little bit. I know Amber Tamblyn, who is his wife. Break down that story because I haven't spoken on it.
Well, I don't know. First of all, I don't know David Cross at all, so I want to make that very clear. I have no connection with him other than I'm an admirer of his work. But I saw this was on Twitter, right? Somebody accused him of being a jerk or something 20 years ago or 15
in real
years
life,
ago or something.
this actress, this goofy faced actress, accused him of being rude to her and racist and sort of taunting her and teasing her 20 years ago, and she goes on Twitter to do it. And then, of course,
Well, because remember, I could relate to that because another writer kind of did a similar thing to me, right? And I was what? Okay, I'm hanging out. And there was a thing where I saw that and I was he took it very seriously. And whatever, that's his. But I think that there's a huge difference between women who are intimidated by a boss figure like Harvey Weinstein or their boss at whatever job, right? Where it's really sexual harassment, but also power. You know what I'm saying? And the ability to get you roles in Hollywood or where all that shit. And then meeting a guy out with your boyfriend at the time, just hanging out, and the dude is on doing a bit. You know what I mean? And you didn't get it at the time.
Yeah, and then 20 years later complaining about it on Twitter.
Right, it's totally different. That's not the same thing. You're diminishing the legit cause of Me Too by Me Tooing on that.
I totally fucking agree. I totally agree. And I know we're not explaining the story very well, but some people know what we're talking about. But Twitter is not, it's become tattletale space. It's every single thing that happens. And then, you're guilty until you're proven, not totally fucking guilty. Once somebody puts something up about you on Twitter, it has a life of its own. And all of a sudden, you could just be indemnified. Big word there for me. And you could get dragged on Twitter. It's some bullshit. And I know what you mean because you had your beefs on Twitter. We stepped in there. We smacked heads.
I love that.
Yeah,
they still talk about it at the Chapo Trap House. By the way, they still talk about that shit.
And you know what? I got to be honest with you. The El Chapo Trap House people, they reached out to me. They wanted to squash the beef, and I said, fine, no problem. We could squash the beef. And then we didn't follow up with it. But it's it's the same thing with this ESPN thing and the Barstool people. And, we're living in a very interesting time and this new media. And
listen, I love, I'm 100% I am Rapaport, the worldwide phenomenon, and I've been down from day one. But no beef is squashed between Eli Lake and the Chapo Trap House.
Then no beef is squashed.
There's no beef squashed. There's no opportunity for squashing that beef.
Done.
You know what I'm saying? You can just consider me an online foe for all time.
Done.
Online for all time. That's how I feel.
Done. Fuck it. The beef lives on.
It does live on.
It lives on. They tried to. They're just mad, Eli, because you're all up in the Bloomberg. You're doing your shit, and they're just player hating, and their breath. I guarantee you that 99.9% of that whole Trap House crew, their breath smells like mayonnaise and stale newspaper. All right.
Yeah.
Listen, Eli, I appreciate the information, the insight.
Oh, one more thing, Mike Rapp.
Give it to me.
I know they're 0-3 right now, my 76ers. But Ben Simmons is nice, right?
Ben Simmons is nice. They're going to be fine. 0-3 means nothing.
It's nothing.
They're 0-3. Golden State's 2-2. Who cares? The Knicks are like, it doesn't matter. The Brooklyn Nets are 3-0. You know, talk to me 30 games in before you get a sense of them. Joel Embiid is good. Simmons is good. And the point guard is good. And that team is going to be fine. They're going to be a good team. 0-3 means nothing. Don't even bat your eyes. It's still preseason to most of these guys.
What's your favorite NBA scene so far in the season?
My favorite NBA scene so far was
like subplot storyline.
I like Steph Curry throwing his mouthpiece at the ref. I like when Steph Curry actually becomes Bizarro Steph Curry for real.
Oh yes.
I like the Andrew Wiggins 3-pointer the other night to win that game. Although I like the Carmelo 3-pointer, but I feel like Andrew Wiggins is an emerging star, and that'll sort of put him on the map for the non-NBA fan.
Right.
My favorite thing is the Patrick Beverly locking down Lonzo. That was
I know. Patrick Beverly and Mays. I know.
So
that was because he was nice. I mean, that was like, I love that.
Patrick Beverly was screaming on him in the locker room. Apparently, Patrick Beverly was in the locker room like, yo, get out here, bitch. I'm going to bust your ass. That's the kind of guy I like.
I love it. It's a good time for the NBA. And I'll leave it there. It is a good time.
It's a great time for the NBA. It's NFL. And hopefully we just remain safe. Eli, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you.
Stay in touch with me, and I'll talk to you soon, my man.
No doubt. All right.
All right, I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. You know what it is. The Sick Fuck of the Week.
This award is earned, not given. It's called the Sick Fuck of the Week. This guy's really sick. Lock him up. How could you do it? Don't let him out. Damn. You fucked the dog? You what? You fucked the dog? Why would you fuck the dog? Why would you fuck your girlfriend's dog? What? Sick fuck. The sick fuck of the week. It's earned. Earned. Not given. You did. What? No. No.
Yes, there it is, the Sick Fuck of the Week theme song. It is up. The Sick Fuck is an award that is earned, not given. Earned, but not given. G, are you working on the Sick Fuck of the Week remix?
Yeah. It's being broken down and built back up, and it'll be eerie, funky, as always.
Yeah, that eerie funk. The first Sick Fuck of the Week, and I don't know if he's ever been an actual Sick Fuck of the Week before. I would probably guess to say that he has, but we don't fact check here at the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. R. Kelly, the accusations come in where there's smoke, there's fire. No one wanted to believe that Whitney Houston was a crackhead. May she rest in peace.
Word.
No one wanted to believe that Michael Jackson was a drug addict. May he rest in peace. And no one wanted to believe that R. Kelly was a sick fuck, but I have to hedge the side of he is a sick fuck. Another allegation of a woman who was sort of held, abused, physically starved, and forced to have sex with other women during their relationship has come forward. Obviously, we know about him pissing on underage women. R. Kelly, you sick fuck you. Why do you always have the dark sunglasses on? Mm-hmm. What are you hiding, you sick fuck you?
Yeah. Them cold eyes, man. The eyes are the window to the soul, so you can see all the debauchery in this motherfucker.
We talked about this. Gerald, a poacher. A poacher is someone who hunts animals like deviant Donald Trump's kids. They like to go out there and hunt, giraffe, in a closed environment. Not really go out there and get it popping with the lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. No, you like to go into a safe environment where you're surefire, where you're the surefire winner.
Right. You don't want to go really into the jungle.
You don't want to really go into the jungle like Dikembe Mutombo and Manu Bol had to do, where they killed lions and tigers with their fucking hands. No. You want to go to basically a zoo that lines up the animals to do it. So this poacher, this dumb fuck, who's actually a double winner because he's also a sick fuck, was trying to kill a rhino in one of these like zoos where you get to kill animals, and the rhino turned the tables on that fuck.
Yeah.
Charged him and severely injured the man's leg. I'll bet you won't be hunting anymore, will you? Fuck you.
Hell yeah. Gored his ass out. Good. Good for you.
Gored his ass out real proper.
The OG Rhino came out of nowhere. Nature strikes back, you barbarian motherfucker.
Good.
They try to take his horn. The horn is made out of like our fingernails, like substance. That's it.
In Germany, a neo-Nazi spat on a Jewish Holocaust survivor at a memorial site and gave him the Nazi salute. An 84-year-old man was spat on.
Oh, you need a real mensch to come knock his fucking head off. You hear my Yiddish game rap?
Yeah.
A mensch.
Yeah. They need to find this guy and let the 84-year-old guy fuck him in the ass. That's how you deal with it. We get him. Obviously, the 84-year-old guy probably can't fight him. You need a couple of young bucks with him. Catch him. They're going to track him down. And they let the 84-year-old guy go to town on him. No Wonder Bread bag. Skeet, 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 skeet.
Like some Pulp Fiction type shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Get Ving Rhames on his ass. Go medieval on his ass. The next sick fuck of the week, Lisa Bloom, crooked Lisa Bloom, who can't seem to keep herself out of the news. She infamously was representing Black China. And then, of course, she was infamously representing Harvey Weinstein. And at one point, she was representing Kathy Griffin. And she gave her all that bad advice. She apparently won't leave Kathy Griffin alone. And I told Kathy Griffin, you fucked up with that. You should have let that little storm pass, and you would have been a hero. Don't apologize to anything that has to do with Donald Trump, ever. Fuck him. Fuck him. And now crooked Lisa Bloom, she's harassing Kathy Griffin. Leave Kathy alone, you animal.
Crooked Lisa's getting her paper though. I got to tell you, she's out there doing it. And,
by any means necessary. That's why she's crooked Lisa Bloom.
You have to be a shark out there.
The other sick fucks, they have sex education in Belgium for 7-year-olds.
Oh, man.
Sex education for 7-year-olds explaining different sex techniques such as the hummingbird, the twist and shout, and the deep cave. You sick fucks. If I sent my 7-year-old to school and they came home talking about that hummingbird, that twist and shout, and that deep cave, these are oral sex techniques. These are straight fuck. You know who needs to watch this videotape? Christian Ponder.
Yeah.
Not the 7-year-olds. Christian Ponder, you need to watch this.
The hummingbird. I'll be stinging like a fucking bee. A hummingbird. 7 years old?
7 years old, they're showing this shit.
That's a crime.
Lock them up.
Crime.
Lock them up. Lock them the fuck up.
That is incredible.
Another sick fuck, director James Toback, who directed the movie The Pickup Artist, some other, good films, Two Guys and a Girl, Black and White, good director. Sort of a rogue director, does his thing. 36 women have came out and accused him of sexual harassment. And if you look at James Toback, he actually does look like a sick fuck. When 36 women are saying the same thing, where there's smoke, there's fire. It's not just R. Kelly, where there is smoke, there is fire. James Toback, you sick fuck, you know you ain't skeeting. You look like shit. My man looks like straight shit.
Yo.
Another big name director's going down in a week. Mark my words. I'm not naming the name. Mark my fucking words. And it's going to be a big, big mainstream director. Mark my words.
Watch, for all the little young aspiring actors and all that, watch what you say to women. It could be misinterpreted. It could come back and haunt you. Just be polite, just be like, because this climate we're in, yo, you could just get accused and your shit could be over. And you could, it's just.
You could just get accused.
And you got to be on your P's and Q's and just, be on some, I don't know, man. Just, it could be misinterpreted. Sexual, harassment. Just a motherfucker saying, you look good.
Yup.
You
can't even, when a beautiful woman walks by you on the street, you can't even say, God bless you anymore.
Word.
That's like a standard thing in New York. If a beautiful woman walks by, most people will be like, God bless you.
Yeah. And they take that. Oh, we heard what he said.
Or if she's walking by, like I remember there was one of our friends, if a woman had a nice derriere, he would be like, God damn, you shining, girl.
Yeah.
What's wrong with saying, God damn, you shining, girl? But in this day and age, shit, that could come back to haunt you. Finally, the sick fuck of the week. Over a dozen years after a career criminal raped a 68-year-old woman in her home, he came face to face with the victim, who's now 82. How is this guy still alive? A career criminal, he raped a 68-year-old woman.
Damn. Depraved, man. And where else can this guy be? But in a cage.
Well, the 82-year-old woman says he should be electrocuted, and I say, good. She confronted him face to face. This piece of shit. And he showed up into court, not a mark on him. How are these guys not walking with a limp from getting that Wonder Bread bag and beaten? They should come in there with black eyes, bloody lips, busted nose, broken elbows, all kind of shit.
Yeah, police work. That's what I would say. Yeah, he struggled.
Hey, he tried to jump out of the first floor. We saved him.
And I saw that. They said this was a hulking guy that needed actually 2 pairs of handcuffs to secure his arms behind his back. Damn.
All right, that's it. I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. We're done. I want to thank my man Eli Lake, the official political correspondent of the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. We told you the 30th, New York City. We will be at the Gramercy Theater doing our thing live and direct. Michael Rapaport, G. Monetti. It is the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. We out.
Peace.